So welcome. We are live. This is Dion Price from This Youth Generation, reaching out to you guys from Fairfield, California, that's Northern California. We appreciate the opportunity to participate in this national coalition of organizations who will be participating in improving the quality of life of young men, particularly African American men. My name is Dion Price, founder of This Youth Generation. We've been doing our part out here on the West Coast, trying to reach as many young people as possible to help improve the quality of life of young men. So joining this coalition gives us the resources to put on such events. They've given us a lot of resources and tools. And there's national organizations doing this on this day. And I thought it would be a good idea to participate by doing an online life skills sessions, mentoring sessions for youth, parents, and youth workers, anyone in any capacity working with young males, particularly young African American males, because they are in what is called the worst condition of all. So with that said, I'd like to we open up our Q&A session there. But at the bottom line, I'm going to give you the rawest version of what I would do, which I do on a regular basis, the rawest and truest and sincerest presentations that I can with these issues in mind. So this hour will be as fulfilled and inspiring as hopefully. Moving forward, we will continue to have this a series of Life Skills Academy sessions for those who are interested in mentoring, mentees, any parent, youth, or youth worker. There'll be a series of life skills sessions that will broadcast from the same channel. And I'll include specifically some employability skills, which is so valuable and so needed, is what I do best in terms of my contribution to improving the quality of life for young males. So that is so valuable, and I'm so looking forward to presenting those sessions on this series. The first thing we want to do in this agenda is introduce why it is so important that we value the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. This generation has pretty much detached itself from what the struggles of what the previous generation has contributed to allow them to be free and to go to schools they want and have the freedom that they are benefiting from. So I appreciate the recent film Selma that has reintroduced those struggles. And isn't it ironic that we are going through those similar struggles with all the turmoil going on nationwide with the ill relationship between law enforcement and African American males? But here it is. What does the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King mean in the eyes of today's youth? Was he just a distant historic figure who receives an annual honorary day of recognition? How can we maintain the relevance of Dr. King's philosophy, accomplished, and struggles with the youth? How can we relive those? Speaking to current high school and middle school students, public schools, and gradually doing less and less of focus on Dr. King, the civil rights movement, and African American history, our current environment is so saturated with violence, and particularly among African American males, one would think that a respected historic image that stood for nonviolence would be injected into the forefront. Isn't it ironic that King's effort to inspire a young generation to fight with intelligence and nonviolence during the civil rights movement has evolved into a generation that only knows violence as a means to solve even minor issues? Where did the disconnect happen between these two generations? Sociologists suggest that it was the epidemic of drug addictions during the 1980s that perpetuated the already fading socially and politically conscious generation that would then give birth to this current generation. This decade, sometimes referred to as the crack era, resulted in the extreme conditions that devastated the urban community, causing drug addiction, violence, and parental neglect. There was no presence of cultural awareness, no political consciousness or movement whatsoever. There was no evidence by the end of the decade of any leadership, cultural or heritage in the community. The once threefold cord of intelligence, resilience, and faith that drove the previous youth generation was now completely severed. The struggles of the civil rights movement of the 1960s, along with the unity and cultural pride of the 70s, were a very distant memory. Some might say we have lost our way. The good news is that what was once lost can be found. We can regain consciousness and awake by re-educating ourselves and our children on what is really important, implementing your child's education with a family study. Start with your own family history and gradually move into historic figures and events. Train them in morals, ethics, respect, and manners. How about a lesson in conflict resolution that starts at the home? These are life skills that can and may be relevant and help them learn what they may not learn in school. So at the end of the day, Dr. King's Day should stay alive. I'll be participating in this, and hopefully I encourage you as parents, youth workers, and youth yourself to participate in a day of service on this annual day in honor of Dr. King. So if you have any questions, we will have access to these documents if you're interested, send me your email so that I can forward you documents or articles that you can share with your youth if you're a youth worker or a parent. If there's a video, if there is a document or even a PowerPoint presentation that you think that will be relevant, just send me your email and I will forward you the information. Anything we get from this session, I can give you access to it. Why is it relevant for African Americans? Someone has told me this in my efforts of working with young people. I got some what is called some discouraging comments from some people saying that why do you spend so much time with on the subject of African American males, and does that exclude other people? And so I got some people suggesting that I was somehow unfair, that I was spending so much time and the focus is always only on African American males. My response to those critics were this: if you go where the need is greater, who is in the worst condition of our society? Who is suffering the most? Those who are in need the most should get the most attention. It just makes sense to me. So I gave them the illustration of a lifeguard. If you're a lifeguard on a tower and you see some people struggling in the water, who are you going to go in after first? The people who are drowning or people who are getting through the water comfortably? They're swimming through it. To me, as a lifeguard, I'm sure you will agree, you go in after the people who are in the most risk, the people who are drowning. Caucasian young men and Asian young men, they're swimming through the system quite fine. But who is drowning in poverty, drowning in unemployment, drowning in incarceration, drowning in death, being killed literally? Who needs the most help right now? No doubt, African American males are in the worst shape and they need the most attention. And that is no doubt, and most people will agree with that. So that's my response to that. So I published this piece and presented it to anyone working with young men in any capacity, even if they're a younger age. I think there is no better time than when they develop their consciousness to start giving them the information they need so they can navigate through this very difficult environment, they being African American males. So I shared this article and this piece with some people, and they thought that it was a little too harsh. They thought that it was, how dare you say something like that to your child? They thought it was too difficult to share with some young people, and I disagreed. I said no. I think it's necessary. So this is a critical message for young Black males. And every young person that's working with any capacity should experience this, should share this with you. Brace yourself. You are a target. Share this with your cousins, nephews, brothers, or anyone in any capacity working with young people. You are a prey and a target for the criminal justice system. You are the outcast of our society. In our current environment, you are expected to be the most incarcerated, the most uneducated, the most unemployable, the most expelled, and most violent. You are at the bottom of the barrel in every aspect of our society. You are the most likely to be murdered or to die due to the health issues, yet there seems to be no concern for your mortality. This is very little value for your life. If you were a whale or any other animal, you'd be number one on the endangered species list. You are the most likely victim of hate crimes, gang violence, police brutality, black on black crime. You will be adored and hated. The world loves a lot about you, but doesn't love you. Your style will be much appreciated. You will be adored and hated at the very same time. You will never receive the respect you deserve, whether you are the man of the house or the president of the United States. You will be criticized to an unprecedented degree, regardless of how well you perform your duties. You will have to do 3 times better than your counterparts just to be accepted in any industry or occupation. You will be challenged and tested more than any other person by both males and females, yet you cannot respond like individuals would naturally. You have to be more patient to those attacks, more tolerant to injustices, and more accepting to disappointments. You will be persecuted more often than most and disciplined much harsher than anyone else. Your reputation image will be vilified. You will be restricted or have limited access from just about every industry in this nation. You will have to break down barriers to make your way. Do not expect any breaks, young man, from anyone. This system is not designed to benefit you. In most cases, you're on your own. Laws are written to incriminate you. You are a small fish in a sea of sharks looking to devour you. In order to survive, you have to be smarter and wiser than most. But besides all these obstacles, you will shine. You will manage to find a way to shine. You maintain your integrity, and you will not compromise your dignity. Your natural instinct to survive is impeccable. You have an incredible ability to adapt and excel when given the opportunity. You have demonstrated an outstanding aptitude to prosper, regardless of the many adversaries and obstacles that are in your path. You were dealt a very poor hand, yet you continue to find a way to shine. You will accomplish great things under extremely challenging circumstances. You are armed with strength and power beyond what is normal. You are the epitome of a champion. Be prepared to take your rightful place in this world. I received some mixed views about that piece, and many people thought it was too harsh to say something like that to, say, a 10-year-old. I gave it to my son, and I think it's necessary. I think we have to arm our young men with the reality that they are faced with. That's a critical message. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you would like a copy of that piece, the video, the slideshow, or the article itself, again, put your email in at the bottom there and send it to me, and I'll get it to you. On the agenda is talking about a video piece on why this is important, particularly trying to reach young Black males. There's a video that really epitomizes what's been going on lately in recent activities with the issues between African American males, and why we believe that our lives, there's no value. Our lives matter.
Why?
Why?
Why are you following me?
Why my hoodie make me look suspicious?
Why does my music make me dangerous?
Why are people that are supposed to protect me attacking me?
Why are you afraid of me? Why do you think I'm dangerous?
Why do I afraid of people who are supposed to protect me?
Why Why can't I make a peace sign without you labeling the gang sign?
Why does standing your ground only work when I'm on the ground?
Why do you show this photo over this one?
Why do you only stop and frisk me?
Why do you have low expectations for me?
Why can't I run down the street without causing alarms?
Why do you think I'm a thug?
Why do you assume I'm armed?
Why can I breathe?
Why is my mom scared every time I leave the house?
Why are you targeting me?
Why am I a target?
Why?
Why? I know why.
And it has to stop.
It must stop.
Because I have dreams.
Because I can change the world.
Because I will make a difference.
Because I have a family.
Because I am strong.
Because I'm talented.
I have a voice.
I can find a cure.
I have goals.
I can lead the country.
I am determined.
I have a future.
Because I'm a scholar.
I am powerful.
I'm someone's friend.
I'm someone's brother.
I'm someone's son.
Someone loves me.
And because my life matters too.
My life matters.
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 All lives matter.
And so did theirs.
Okay, so I hope you were able to view that video. And again, that was very impactful. There's something that you can use as a tool to communicate with young males or any groups you're working with if you're a mentee, a mentor. And if you have any capacity, parents even, to share that with young people and start the discussion again. So again, that piece is available to you. Again, shoot me your email and I can exchange the information to you so you can share it at a later time. One of the core values that exist in the series or the training for improving the achievements of young Black males with this coalition that is going on is the core values. And the core values that this organization has used is the core values initiated by the great Muhammad Ali. And those core values are, and we use them as a tool to help inspire young people just to be the best at what they do, the best version of what they are. My friend Kevin Bracey always shares with young people that you give everybody the best version of you on every given day, the best effort, the best attitude, the best energy you got for that particular day. Moving forward, the great Muhammad Ali is a great model for young people to be the absolute best at what you do, stand strong, be confident, and be courageous, and invest in everything. So those core values are, number one, confidence, conviction, dedication, giving, respect, and spirituality. Having confidence is absolutely critical. We'll speak on that one for one moment and share this. If you are a young person listening, or if you are a parent or a youth worker, how critical is confidence? As an athletic coach, I use sports often as a tool to inspire life skills. And just as the sports environment, you have to have a healthy, competitive spirit. You must be confident in any and everything you do. And once that confidence is lost, then you lost your edge. Confidence is the key. The environment that we live in is an environment that's full of competitions. Young men will be competing for everything they have. Whatever, from here on out, you are in a competition. You're competing for school, you're competing for work. If there's a job opportunity, you're competing for that job as well. So if you don't have a healthy competitive spirit and a confidence about you, you will get left behind. So one of the things that we need to inspire in young Black males is to take that same confidence and swagger they have as athletes and transfer that same confidence and energy in their careers, in their education. We often encourage them to don't be a stud on the court or in the field, but be a punk in the classroom. That same competitive spirit that made you a successful athlete will also make you a successful businessman, a father, an instructor, or whatever you're doing. That same confidence. Mr. Ali put it down, and I can't think of anyone else that is a better model for confidence and swagger and success as the great Muhammad Ali. So it's a great model. it's a great a tool to use to inspire young people. The other tools in those core values that's also relevant is conviction, being committed and convicted to what you're doing. You can't do anything half-hearted, of course. If you're half-hearted at something, then you might as well not participate at all. That's another tool that is often used in the sports world. You go 100% or you don't go at all. Go hard or go home. Let's use those same tools, those same slogans to inspire young people to be the best attorneys or the best students or the best carpenters, whatever they're doing. You want to be convicted. You want to be committed to it. A firm belief that gives one the courage to stand behind what they believe in and inspire them to be the best at what they're doing. Be invested in what you're doing. The next core value is dedication. Dedication is commitment. Commitment, the act of devoting all of one's energy, effort, and abilities to a certain task. That means you put all you got into that task. If you are working, if you're an architect, you put 100% of your effort into that skill set. Develop that skill set, no matter what you're doing, young man. Or if you're encouraging or coaching someone, encourage them to commit a complete dedication to that field. Again, using the sports analogy, athletes don't only work on their craft during practice time or game time. Most people who are passionate about athleticism or their sport, they're working morning, noon, and night. I once wrote an article about how I understood how young men who wanted their sons to be outstanding basketball players. I worked at a fitness center and a youth program where I saw a young man bring his son in at 6 a.m. every other day before school to work on his basketball skills. This kid was maybe 8 or 9 years old. Every morning, this young man brought his son in there to make sure he was dribbling with the left, dribbling with the right, working on his mid-range at 10 years old. And I wondered, would this man have put that same conviction in helping this young man pass the SAT test or get a higher grade on his math test? Was he putting the same effort and commitment and dedication to his son's academics? We as young men, or men in general, we tend to be one-sided when it comes to committing and supporting our kids. We'll support them athletically, but sometimes we will not support them as much in their academics and in other aspects of life. We have to balance that out. The article was called "When Hoop Dreams Deflate." So that's often the downfall of many of our young athletes. They put everything they have into a sport, and then when that sport is no longer the way they're going to make their living, they give up on it. I mean, they have nothing else to hold on to because they put everything they had dedicated to that sport. Can't we be as dedicated to something else, to science or to the medical field or to the law or to any other type of discipline? We have to be just as dedicated. Giving is something that we need to inject ourselves, such as being humble. The present voluntary ability to give without expecting anything in return. That's humble. And we need to be a nicer breed of people, being able to support one another, being giving, being loving, that connects us with agape love, having a genuine care for the well-being of other people. I think that's critical to have as one of your core values, because again, we have to be supportive of one another. We're all in this world together and no one is in it alone. So we're all struggling. So why not help each other out? The next one is respect. Absolutely. And that's a big one. I think Dr. Marshall of the Street Soldiers program out here in the West Coast in Northern California, they have the Alive and Free movement, which I work with him diligently in some aspects, but they're big on respect. And they say people don't understand what respect is, but they will kill over it. So I've heard people said after fights and going into serious confrontations with people saying that, why did you do that? Because I felt disrespected. But the tool in that, and a learning tool is the esteem for a sense of the worth and excellence of oneself and others. So you give people their due, but the first person you need to develop a respect for is yourself by maintaining your integrity and expecting and a better person from yourself. So self-respect starts first before you can give respect to someone else. It's give and take. The last one is spirituality. Ultimately, none of this matters if your morals and ethics are not transcended by a higher power. You have to be guided by something. So whatever your belief system is, you have to have a hierarchy of beliefs. Otherwise, your morals and ethics is open for anything. There's have to be a self-checking mechanism that will say, I will not go that far because I have someone else to answer to. You have to know right from wrong. You have to be convicted to those things. I feel sorry for an individual that has no spirituality whatsoever, because their morals and ethics will be all over the place. They'll be capable of anything, no matter what. So these core values were really emphasized by the great Muhammad Ali. We borrowed them and used them as values to help mentor and guide young Black males. This is a great tool that we use as part of the coalition to help improve Black male achievement, and particularly with this youth generation, we use it as well. So again, if you'd like a copy of those 6 core values, again, I can forward that to you and give you the tools. I can email them to you as well. The next thing on our agenda here, another video piece on why it's important for young Black males to be committed to their professional development. The image of young African American males is damaged. So I thought this video piece about professionalism is critical. Moving forward, we'll do a series of employment development sessions that people can refer to in the future and they can use for their own professional use and professional development. So this video piece here has to do with image.
This generation rules the nation with version.
Hi, welcome to This Generation. I'm Dion Price. Today's feature focuses on professional image. Young people have a real challenge becoming respected and credible in the workforce, particularly today's workforce. One of the reasons are the negative image that young people have. The great James Baldwin says, he who controls the image controls the mind. We all know the image of young people, this particular generation, is not so great, with the sagging pants, the tattoos, and the challenging fashion, we should say. There are great employment barriers that young people have to overcome. Not only do you have to compete with more experienced and mature workers, you also have to overcome the negative stereotypes that already exist in our society. Recent statistics show that 65% of young people under the age of 25 will lose their job within the first 3 months of employment. And we all know that's the probationary period or the introductory period. 65%. That's horrible. Those are horrible numbers. So we have to overcome those. Employers know these stats as well. Some of the main reasons young people lose their jobs or are not in favor in the eyes of employers are poor attendance, poor attitude, poor work ethic. So when you walk into the grounds, when you walk into an interview, when you go to pick up an application, when you are introducing yourself to a potential employer, they can't see a young person. They can't see a Black person, African American, Hispanic, Asian, elf, whatever, whatever you are. All you need them to see is a professional. You have to transform yourself into a professional. If they see a professional, they're going to really not see or not buy into the negative stereotypes that may exist. So, next question, how do you transform yourself into a professional as a young person? Professional development. This particular episode, we're going to focus on how you can really develop your professional image on paper as well as in person. Number one, compromise your fashion trends. Tattoos, piercings are not favorable, are not professional in the eyes of modern employers. We may have to compromise our fashion trends. That means we may need to remove the visible tattoos, remove piercings, and compromise to a more of a conservative form of dress, which is more acceptable in the business world. That may get you over the hump. That may get you beyond those negative stereotypes. Everything that comes out of your mouth must be respectful, which is also not traditionally associated with this generation. Things such as common courtesy, excuse me, yes sir, yes ma'am, looking people straight in the eye, firm handshake, just being a professional. Everything about you needs to be professional, including your communication, your answer machine, your email address. Everything about you from this day forward needs to be professional. No more Snoop Dogg or Ice Dragon or Pimp Dog. All those email address, change all those things and transform yourself. Playtime is over. Everything about you now is professional. Create a professional email address that represents you, the professional. Separate your personal life from your business life. Also, your answering machine. Take all the music, all the gimmicks. Playtime is over. No one wants to hear the long remix version of your favorite artist. Look, playtime is over. Let it go. It's time to be professional. Simply state in your professional mannered voice, so-and-so, Mr. Price, David, not home at the moment. Sorry I missed your call. I will return your call at my earliest convenience. Everything about you from this day forward is professional as we begin to develop and mature into that professional being. Now, if you're lucky enough to get past an interview, you've submitted a cover letter, you've submitted a resume, everything that you represent in person must match the professional tone in which it was submitted on paper. So if you look good on paper, you must also look good in person. So that means you must, again, try for a conservative business attire, shirt and tie, a conservative business suit if you're a female. Go moderate on the piercings. Go moderate on the jewelry. Just go conservative. And maybe you'll get a fair shake and get an opportunity to represent who you are as a professional. For more help and hints on developing your professionalism, stay tuned to this series of This Generation. Good luck to you.
Okay, so that was a video piece on professionalism. Hopefully you were able to view that. If you would like a copy of these videos, we'd like you to invite you to join to subscribe to the channel, and you can get this and more. There will be a series of very valuable short little videos that you can share with your youth, or if there's a young person that need these tools, they'll have access to it. It's all about sharing that information. Someone needs that information, and you never know. I get these requests often for people who are in the process of pursuing a career or a job. Can they put together an employment package, or can they give me some advice on this? So instead of, we use this tool, this mass media, as a valuable tool, but it's best to use it as the right thing. So I can't reach any one individual. I mentor several young men, many in different capacities. Some are not even in the same area or in different states. So you can maximize your resource. So I love these tools if we can use them correctly and for the right reasons. So I hope that was practical and useful for you. The next tool is on the agenda is the next video piece here. Is a video about how important it is for young males to develop their communication skills. Welcome to This Youth Generation. I'm Dion Price. Today's edition focuses on communication skills. There was a time when correct English was not an option. Speaking it was absolutely mandatory. Over the years, we've seen it deteriorate. As an instructor, I've seen it, parents as well. And a generation ago, we didn't have that issue. I recall being literally popped in the mouth if I spoke out of turn, or if I spoke in a double negative. And it made me think before I spoke. She'd have a cigarette in one hand, a cup of coffee in the next, and she would pop me right in the mouth with the same cup, the hand she had the cup of coffee in, and wouldn't spill a drop, by the way. It was kind of weird. That brings me to, I shared this story with a group of students at the community college about how serious it is for us to improve our communication skills and why it has become an issue now as opposed to our generation. The biggest culprit right now is, according to the consensus, is technology.
Many youth are doing so much texting and so much online communication that they are not developing healthy interactions with human beings. I heard one young lady say that she really feels uncomfortable speaking directly to an individual because she had to literally look them in the eyes. It's more comfortable for her to do it over online or through a social network or on a text. I believe this particular generation, this culture, really have to free ourselves from this linguistic shackles that exist with urban vernacular and hip-hop language that has really become very popular, but it also has hindered our capacity to communicate on a professional level.
Hey, bluff y'all plunk ass bliggers. Schmick on the schmick, bro. Don't play with the snigger schmick tatty piece. I smick talk.
What the hell did you just say?
I believe the number one skill to develop, out of any skill that you can develop, is the skill to communicate clearly. I'm talking about just enunciating your words. You don't have to change. You can still be cool and have swag and all that kind of stuff, but you have to be able to get your point across and be able to listen, be able to shake hands and be confident. Eye contact, dress a certain way in order to get the job. There's greatness in you, but we've got to show that through how we communicate. Listen to me. Your body language, your tone, and your words. It's everything. They read your body language. They read the tone of your voice, and they read the words that you speak. If you can get all three of those areas working together, you can win. You have a gift. We can all communicate. It's a matter of slowing down and making it important to become someone who can communicate and get your point across and make other people feel good in the presence while you're communicating with them. Positive energy. Body language is everything. You feel positive energy from me? Because it's body language. It's tonality. Communication skills, the number one skill to develop. It's code switching. I'm not going to be like, what's up, homie, when I'm shaking somebody's hand for a job. I've got to be able to know when to kick it and know when to be serious.
I recently observed the speaking ability of students on various campuses of high schools and colleges, and it is a very, very serious concern, speaking to educators and parents as well. Your ability to communicate will determine how well you will be in the job market. It is absolutely imperative that you can communicate your resume and articulate and sell your product. If you can't do that, you're going to have trouble.
Okay, alrighty. So that was a communication video. Again, if you are interested in using some of these tools and videos to share with your youth or for yourself, if you are a youth yourself or you have a group that you would like, again, subscribe to the channel. I can get this information to you, and it'll be a great tool to start the conversation. And we have about 10 minutes left to the broadcast. I want to get some feedback from you. If you have any questions for me, submit your questions in the Q&A box here. And the next item on our agenda of this Dr. King's Day of Mentoring would be how to survive when stopped by the police. They thought of some main things across the nation that's some of the critical issues for young males. Of course, the relationship with police is that's the conversation that everyone should be having right now. So that's the next issue. And with that, to do the 10 top things to do if you ever confronted by a police officer. Number one rule of 10 rules of survival if stopped by the police. Number one, be polite and respectful when stopped by the police. Keep your mouth closed. Be polite at all times. Of course, you maintain your respect for authority. Even if you believe that you are done wrong, that's not the time in the field to fight that battle. So many of our young people lose that battle, and they lose drastically. So be mindful of that. Number two, remember that your goal is to get home safely. Use the above rules to help do that. If you feel that your rights have been violated, you and your parents or your attorney have the right to file a formal complaint with your local police jurisdiction. It's a good idea to develop a relationship with the police. Know who the chief of police is. Know who the sergeants are. Know a few. It's always a good idea to develop those relationships. It has been very effective. Number 3, don't under any circumstances get into an argument with the police. That's confrontational. That's not the time to do that. You can ask very polite and respectful questions without being argumentative. Number 4, always remember that anything you say or do can be used against you in the court of law. So that is a very true statement. Their motivation, in most cases, if you're under duress, everything they do, that you do, will be used as leverage to justify why you were pulled over or why you were arrested in the first place. So keep that in mind. And very rarely are you going to talk your way out of someone if they're already convicted to do what they're going to do. If they're going to arrest you, they're going to arrest you. There's nothing you can say or do. You might as well just prepare for the damage control or whatever's going to happen after that. Number 5, keep your hands in plain sight and make sure the police can see your hands at all times. We've even taken it a step further. We encourage young people here, if you're pulled over in a car, turn the cab light on inside your vehicle. That way, right away, you're letting them know I have nothing to hide. There's no reason for you to be concerned about me, what I'm doing. I'm letting you know to be as transparent as possible so there's no mistakes or someone can say they thought you were doing something. So you openly. Also a good idea, Mike Johnson, who's also works with us with this youth generation, one of the program directors here that works with us, young people, suggested that you keep all of your documents above your visor. So there's no reason to be reaching anywhere, because that can can lead to some some issues of concern or threat of maybe he was reaching for a weapon or something. So keep all your documents right above your visor. Your cab light is on. You're simply reaching up to the top and you're there. If you have to go on your wallet, you ask for permission. I need to get my license out of my wallet. Is that okay with you, officer? You do that in plain sight. Number 6, avoid physical contact with the police. No sudden movements, and keep hands out of your pockets. Basic information. Do not be in a threatening position. If you are walking and you approach, you keep your hands visible. You can gesture, but you don't put anything in a threatening manner. We've seen young men be confrontational, and that escalates the situation. Again, we'll have a future class on de-escalating conflict. It's a very valuable life skill, and we'll include that in this series. Number 7, do not run, even if you are afraid of the police. I know that's instinctful sometimes. I mean, there's a natural defense to run sometimes when you think you're being threatened, even by the cops or the police officers. Just don't do it. Because there's laws in some states where if you are arrested or suspected of committing a felony and you run, they're allowed to shoot you. In some states, it is within their protocol to be allowed to shoot a person who is fleeing, who they seem or have convicted a serious felony. Wow. So that's something that's just wide open, and it's very dangerous. So don't run. Number 8, even if you believe that you are innocent, do not resist arrest. You may be right. And I love what my colleague Mike Johnson always says, you can be right, but you don't want to be dead right. I believe they believe Trayvon Martin may have been right to defend himself. Oscar Grant was within his rights. He was sedated. Michael Brown or whoever, Mr. Gardner, he may have thought that they were right, but they're dead right. You don't want to be dead right. I love that quote. Thank you, Mr. Mike Johnson. Number 9, don't make any statements about the incident until you are able to meet with a lawyer or a public defender. Again, this is a game that you don't know about. They know this game well. And sometimes the police officers, the district attorney, the law enforcement agencies, the jailers, they're all in harmony with one another, and they want to convict sometimes. In most cases, it's a system that's working in conjunction, in co-partnership. So you don't know a lot about that. So you want to be very diligent or careful about how you communicate, because once you get in that system, it's tough to get out of it, and it's tough to maneuver within it. So you want to be very wise. Number 10, stay calm and remain in control of your words, body language, and emotions. Be very careful about that. If you are calm, then you breathe better. You're less threatening in that regard. Of course, these are very valuable tools to use. If you would like a copy of this, again, subscribe and send me your email information, connect and register and get involved, and I can forward it to you, send me through an email and so forth. So that is our 10 rules of necessary rules of when confronted by a police officer. Have about a few minutes left. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the MLK's Black Male Achievement Coalition, of which this youth generation is now a part of providing us with some valuable tools and information and resources to help improve the quality of life of young Black males. If you are a parent, a youth, or a youth worker in any capacity, we have a lot of work that needs to be done. I think that there's no greater work right now in terms of human work, community work, than improving the quality of life for youth, in particular young Black males. We're at the very beginning of this broadcast. They're in worse conditions, the worst there is, the bottom of the barrel, and we need every resource possible to help. And if you would like to be a part of that, I commend you. And again, stay involved. We will have a series of life skills, particularly in employment development. One of my passionate commitments to this movement is to help improve the employability of young Black males. The bottom line, if none of these things matter, if at the end of the day, you can't find gainful employment. So if you are a young person that has done well in school, but if that education that you've earned doesn't lead to you being able to find gainful employment, then what good was in the first place? Whether you were in probation, you were in youth programs, or all these type of extracurricular activities, fine. They should enhance your employability skills, but they all should lead to gainful employment. If it doesn't lead to that, then it didn't do you any good. Your athleticism, any of that. I mentor a young man who's now 26 years old. He had dropped out of high school, and I don't mind telling his story. I'm not going to give you his name, but you probably find this familiar. This young man went through the ringer in terms of high school. We convinced him to get back in school. He earned a GED. He earned a community college associate's degree. He went on to a four-year university, UC Berkeley. He was even fortunate enough to earn an advanced degree. This young man is now 26 years old. And now he still is out of work, has been out of work for several months. We're working to find him employment. He's almost $100,000 in debt. So now he's depressed because he haven't found gainful employment with that degree. So the bottom line is, whether it's a trade school, whether it's education, formal education, doesn't matter. The bottom line is we have to find young men and young people gainful employment so they can improve the quality of their life and sustain their lives. That's what it's all about. If you don't have that, then they will gravitate toward desperation moves and go back into maybe criminal mischief or anything like that. So by any means, whether it's Job Corps, military, college, community college, trade school, what have you, find a way to develop your skills. Employment ability is number one. If you really want to help young Black males, that will be the number one thing that I will commit to. So this series moving forward will commit to that. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your time. My name is Dion Price, and on honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, let this day moving forward be a day of service. Thank you for watching. Again, this youth generation looking to improve the quality of life for young Black males.